You've probably seen those videos, right? Tesla's Optimus robot, bit by bit, learning how to walk, how to sort things, even do a little yoga. It's pretty incredible, and it really feels like we're watching the future get built right in front of us. But how does a machine, a physical thing, actually learn to exist in our world? Well, that is the story of physical AI, and we're going to break down its entire coming-of-age journey. So, let's start with the basics. What are we even talking about here? Physical AI is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's artificial intelligence that's been given a body. This is what lets it move and touch and interact with the same messy, unpredictable world that you and I live in. You can think of it as the bridge between pure software and actual physical reality. There's this fantastic Korean phrase, "전 인미답," that just perfectly captures what's happening in this space. It means uncharted territory, a path that no one has ever walked before. And that's truly what this is. We are watching engineers and AIs wander into a completely new world, figuring it out together. Which, brings us right to the heart of this whole explainer. How does a collection of metal, wires, and code go from being an inert machine to, well, an autonomous being? We're about to walk through its entire development using a really clear, four-stage framework, following this robot from its very first clumsy steps to its very first independent thoughts. And every story has a beginning. Phase 1 is all about the robot's infancy. This is the stage where it learns the absolute basics, how to even control its own body. So the first step in teaching a robot how to move isn't some crazy, complex AI. It's a human. It's a process called teleoperation, where a person basically pilots the robot remotely, kind of like a puppeteer. And as the human guides it, the robot is recording everything, every single joint angle, every motor speed, every bit of pressure. It's not thinking for itself at all yet. It's just building this massive library of data about what its new body is capable of. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, that's just a glorified remote-controlled toy. But that's missing the whole point. This step is absolutely foundational. It is the safest, most effective way to gather the massive amount of high-quality, real-world data that all the future learning depends on. A robot can't learn to run before it can crawl. And for physical AI, teleop is crawling. Okay, so once all that foundational data is in the system, the robot kind of graduates to phase 2. It's moving out of its infancy and it's becoming more like an athlete, totally focused on turning those clumsy first movements into masterful, precise actions. And this is a really fundamental leap. In phase 1, the robot was just following outside commands from a person. But now, in phase 2, it starts to listen to its own body. It uses its internal sensors, things like an IMU, which measures its balance and orientation, to develop an internal feel for its own momentum. It stops just listening and it starts feeling. This is where you get that real athletic skill. See, there's always going to be a tiny delay, a bit of latency, between the robot's AI brain making a decision and its physical body actually carrying it out. In this phase, the AI learns to predict its own internal lag and compensate for it in real time. It's the secret sauce that leads to fluid, stable movement, instead of those shaky, clunky motions you see in older robots. Unlocking this predictive control gives the robot a whole bunch of new skills. Suddenly, it can react fast, walk with a smooth, natural rhythm, and even adjust to weird surfaces like slippery floors. So when you see a video of Optimus walking up a ramp without even using its cameras, you are witnessing peak phase 2 athleticism. It's not seeing its way forward, it's feeling its way forward. So, our robot is now a world-class athlete. But an athlete wearing a blindfold isn't all that useful, right? That brings us to phase 3, seeing and understanding the world. You can think of this as our robot finally getting its driver's license. The engine for this whole phase is a technology you have almost definitely heard of. Tesla's full self-driving, or FSD stack. The same incredibly powerful vision system that lets a car see and navigate a busy street is basically integrated right into the robot. It's giving it a really powerful set of eyes and a brain that knows how to make sense of what it sees. So here's how it works. First, the cameras feed raw video to the AI. Then it builds a detailed 3D model of everything around it. It's called a voxel map. It doesn't just see a flat picture, it actually understands space and objects and where they are. And finally, it uses that 3D understanding to do a job all by itself, like finding a specific part in a factory and moving it over to an assembly line. This is where sight and action truly merge into one. And this isn't some far-off sci-fi fantasy. Tesla has been very clear that its goal is to have Optimus performing useful work inside its factories by the end of 2025. So this phase isn't just on the horizon, it's happening right now. And that brings us to the final stage, phase 4, which is where things go from being just technically impressive to, well, fundamentally world-changing. This is where the robot learns to actually think for itself, becoming what you might call a reasoning expert. This isn't just another small improvement. It's a qualitative leap towards what a lot of people call artificial general intelligence, or AGI. It's powered by models that can understand vision and language and logic all at once. And the goal here shifts from simply doing a task to truly understanding why it's doing it in the first place. So what does that actually look like? Well, it means a robot that can understand context. It can apply common sense. It could troubleshoot a problem that it has never, ever seen before, or adapt to a totally new factory layout without needing a human to reprogram it from the ground up. And this incredible adaptability is all powered by a continuous loop of self-improvement. Let's say, for example, the robot predicts how much force it needs to grip a cup. It acts, but it fails. The cup slips. That failure isn't a bug. It's crucial feedback. The AI instantly updates its internal model, and then it succeeds the next time, all on its own. Once a robot reaches this phase, it's no longer just limited to the predictable, sterile environment of a factory. This is the kind of technology that would let a robot perform really complex, dynamic tasks in our day-to-day lives. You know, cooking meals, helping with elderly care, or even handling public maintenance in a busy city. So when you put this all together, what might have seemed like a confusing, fast-moving series of developments now looks like a pretty clear and logical progression. This 4-stage framework gives us a real roadmap to understand what is arguably one of the most important technological shifts of our lifetime. We've really followed the entire journey, from phase 1, the infant, just learning its own body through teleop, to phase 2, the athlete, mastering movement with its internal sensors. Then to phase 3, the new driver, learning to see and navigate the world with FSD vision. And finally, to the horizon of phase 4, the reasoning expert, an adaptive AI that can think and learn on its own. This roadmap helps us understand the how, but it leaves us with a much, much bigger question. For all of human history, we have been the only things in our world that are capable of general learning and adaptation. So, what happens when that's no longer true? What happens when our world is filled with things that can learn?